Hello, this is Peter with another episode of your pocket-sized podcast, Get a Better Broadcast Podcast and Voice Over Voice. We do what it says in the title of the show. All sorts of information, expertise, advice and anecdotes to help you get a better broadcast podcast and voice over voice. Thank you for the loan of your ears. We're going through our A to Z, what I've called, in fact, not so much a glossary, but a Diction-ary of Voice. See what I did there? We're on to the letter P. Today, we're starting off talking about the pharynx, which is the area between the larynx and the nasal cavity. So there, down your throat and into your mouth, into the back of your mouth. So that whole area is called your pharynx rather than your larynx. Sometimes I've made reference to that over the course of these past 900 plus episodes. Phonemes are the different small sounds which, when combined, form a word. So different small sounds. Different. All of those different small sounds which you're creating with different combinations of your tongue moving in different places in different ways. Also your lips as well. There are your two main articulators in your mouth, but also your jaw opening and closing, and also other elements as well. There may be, I suppose it's your tongue, but it's closing off part of your nasal cavities with some words, for example, with the NG sound, and also changing the shape of your mouth as well. You've got your cheek muscles coming into play as well when you're opening and closing your mouths. Sometimes the words formed, the sounds need your cheek muscles to be a little bit looser, sometimes a little bit tighter, together with your lips, everything working in total harmony to get that specific sound correct for the pronunciation of those words and those phonemes, specifically the different smaller sounds which when combined form those different words. Your tongue working 19 to the dozen, as you can imagine. Phrasing is delivering groups of words within a sentence to enhance a meaning. So a different phrase within a sentence. Now, sometimes the script can make it easier for you because it may have ... ellipses, which we've mentioned before in our dictionary, but also it may sometimes have a dash before and after the phrase. Sometimes it may have a comma, sometimes it may have it on a different line, sometimes it may be capitalized, sometimes there's none of that, and you've got to work it out exactly where that phrase is within a sentence on your script, and perhaps underline it or circle it or put in some slash marks, or anything else that I've just mentioned as well, the ellipses, the comma, or whatever it happens to be. And part of the skill that you should have as a voiceover artist, as a presenter, as a reader, is to identify phrases within sentences, because those phrases usually need to be intonated in a slightly different way, either to be lifted up or to be dropped down. They need to be coloured in some way. And I've spoken about inflection and colouring words and phrases previously on our series of podcasts. What is a pickup? Well, yeah, it's a truck, but as far as we're concerned, it's when you go back to re-record a small section of content, like a sentence, because of a slip, a trip, or a mispronunciation. A take is usually a longer piece of content. So whereas a take may be annotated, maybe 1, 2, 3, take 1, take 2, take 3, a pickup is usually marked A, B, C. So you may have take 21, pick up C, and that helps the producer keep track of the best bits. So a take is usually a longer piece of the script that you've recorded, and a pickup is where perhaps just a phrase or a sentence, maybe in the middle, recorded outside the main body of the script, which may be taken and inserted into that main recording to replace the phrase that you don't actually want anymore. Maybe there was a slip, maybe there was a trip. So it may be that you have a take which is dropped into another part of a fuller recording. So one whole eventual script could be made up of several takes for different parts, different constituent elements of that. A pickup pattern is the three, so we've got pickup, which I've just spoken about, and a pickup pattern is something different. This is the three-dimensional area in which a microphone will best detect sound. So that helps determine whether or not you're speaking into the end of a microphone or to one side of the microphone, and if so, which side of the microphone you need to be speaking into so you are heard properly. Usually in a studio situation, professionally, that will all be set up for you, but beware, if you set up a home studio, you've got to be careful that you know which side of your microphone you need to be speaking into so you're not thrown. Hold on, I don't hear myself properly, it's all echoey. Are you speaking into the right part of your mic? Finally today, Plosives. Spoken about this before, let's not go into it in too much depth again today, but the group of sounds in the English language which cause a small explosion of air from the mouth. So it's often at the start and ends of words. The end of the words usually stops, that's what they're referred to. So we've got our B's and D's and G's and K's and P's and T's. And if you put your hand in front of your mouth as you say those letters, you'll feel that rush of air, these tiny little explosions, particularly with your B's and your P's. And when I'm doing that, I'm turning my mouth slightly away from the mic so we don't get a little explosion heard on the microphone and in your ears. Now, plosives are sometimes called breath blasts, which is a term I rather like, and they travel from your mouth directly into a microphone's diaphragm, causing a moment of deep distortion, which is why you need to turn your mouth away if you're sensing one of those words coming up, one of those letters starting with those, a word starting with one of those letters, or you turn your gain down slightly on the microphone, or you turn your microphone away from your mouth, all sorts of different tips and tricks there. The easiest one is just to quickly turn your mouth away from the mic when you say, hello, this is Peter Stewart, and Get a Better Broadcast Podcast and Voice over Voice. We've got P for Peter, we've got also a P for podcast, and we've got B's in better and broadcast as well. So that's quite a bit of a test when you've got a programme which is actually called Get a Better Broadcast Podcast and Voice over Voice. From London, I'm Peter Stewart.